Hello, everybody. I am Samara Coleman, the Executive Director of Kingston Charter School. Welcoming everybody as they're joining in. We are scheduled to get started at 5:15, so we're just going to hang out for a few more minutes until everyone has a chance to get on. Um, as you are signing in, if you wouldn't mind to list the name of your student, name and grade of your student in the chat box, just so we can get an idea of what families we have with us this afternoon. And we'll be getting started in just a few moments.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm Samaya Middlebrook's mom, Robin.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Am I supposed to mute it?
Yes, we'll ask for everybody to mute as you.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. We are going to get started in just a few minutes. We're asking for the parents if you can put the name of your student and their grade in the chat box so that we can get a note of what families we have joining us this afternoon. We are scheduled to begin at 5:15, so we're giving families a few more minutes to jump on before we get started with today's meeting. Hello, families. We're just jumping in to let you guys know that we're scheduled to start at 5:15. So we're giving families a few more minutes to get started and to join us. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, if you can put the name of your student and what grade level your student is in into the chat box. And we will be starting in just a few more moments. So we thank you for your patience. Thank you. Good afternoon, families who are joining us from King Center. We just wanted to say thank you for being with us this afternoon. Our meeting is officially scheduled to start at 5:15, so we're giving some other families a chance to join us so that we can all get the information at one time. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, if you could please in the chat box list the name and grade of your student so that we can get a record of which families we have joining with us today. And we'll be getting started in just a few more minutes. Thank you.
Did you find something? Okay.
What?
Hello?
Good
Hello,
afternoon,
hi.
everyone. Hello. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes. We're
Okay.
officially starting at 5:15, so we're giving some families a few more minutes to jump on before we get started.
Okay.
In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, if you can please put the name of your student and their grade into the chat box so we can have an idea of what families are joining us this afternoon. And we'll be starting in just a few moments. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
What? Wait. Could I memorize mine?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
This the King Charter Parents Group?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We're going to be
Yes.
starting in just a few minutes. We're giving families a few more minutes to jump on
I
before we
can't,
get
girl. I'm
started.
late. Who is the one late girl? I looked at the time like, woo.
No, we're scheduled for 5:15, so I wanted to give everybody a few more minutes before we get started.
One.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, girl, here. I got her. I don't got the change. I think it was like this one. Yes, that's what they do. Okay. I got food all on my.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the
Hi.
King Center. We are going to be getting
Thank you.
started in just a few minutes. We're starting right at 5:15, okay?
Okay. I just didn't. I'm not able to type in my children's name because I'm using the phone
Okay.
voicemail.
Okay.
So
What grade is your student in?
one is in grade 5. It is Jaleel Ross, ROSS,
Okay.
and the other is in grade 3, Amari Pratt.
Thank you so much.
Sorry about that.
No problem. We got your information down and noted in the chat, and we're going to get started in just a few minutes, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm mute.
Get
This
on.
is a mess.
Ah. Go watch the score. That's number 2. That's 4. Western New York can't open. Oh.
First one. Long as you hear from the first one.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised it's been 2 weeks.
It looks like that before.
We just want to say welcome to all the families who are here with us and letting you know that we're going to get started in just 3 minutes. Our scheduled time for meeting today was 5:15, and we want to give all the families who are interested in joining us today an opportunity to get on before we get started. So we thank you for your time and your patience today. If you haven't done so already, if you could please put the name of your student in the chat box along with their grade. And if you can please be sure to mute your line. For families who may not be able to attend today, we want to be able to share the recording of the information, and having the line clear will help get a good recording for those who can't be with us in the moment. So I'll be getting started in just 2 moments. So I want to thank everybody as we get ready to get started.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm for Dior Wilburn. I'm new with this, so I don't know what I'm doing.
It's okay. What grade is he in?
She is in the 3rd grade.
3rd grade. Okay, we'll get her information down. Thank you.
C. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm for Willow Thomas.
Okay, we'll get Willow in. Thank you.
Hello, I'm from Angel Perkins.
Can you say the name again, Ms. Daniels?
Angel Perkins.
Angel Perkins, what grade is Angel in?
She's in 3rd grade. 2nd grade, Miss Barlow. Miss Barlow.
Thank you. Thank you. We got her on the list. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm here for Damari Ponzo.
And what grade is Damari in?
8th grade.
8th grade. Thank you.
I'm here for Jahal Roman in 2nd grade, Miss Barlow.
Okay, we've got him on the list. Thank you.
Hi, this is Toddy
Hi, I'm here
Rogers,
for Melissa.
8th grader.
Sorry.
Ashley.
Thank you. You guys can also, if you have the ability to put the information in the chat box, you can do that too. If not, we'll continue to take names and make the list so we can get a good list of everyone that's here today. We're really excited to see all the families that are with us this afternoon. So we definitely, first of all, want to say thank you to that. I just want to do a quick introduction of myself. Many of you don't know me. I am Tamara Coleman. I'm the executive director for the King Center Charter School. I've been with the school since July. I'm going to give the rest of our leadership team an opportunity to introduce themselves to you before we get started with our agenda today. Ms. Rhodes, are you here with us?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Ms. Rose, hopefully everybody is doing well. Thank you for showing up tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Rhodes. Ms. Rivera.
Hi, Ms. Rivera here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera is our assistant principal. Ms. Rolak.
Good evening. This is Mrs. Rolak, the Director of Instruction and Curriculum. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Rolak. Mrs. Thurman.
I'm Mrs. Thurman. I'm the Dean of Students.
Okay, and I don't believe Barb is with us, so we don't have to worry about that. And then we also have a few of our King Center teachers who are hanging out with us this afternoon. If you guys want to do a quick introduction of yourself so we can acknowledge you before we get started.
Hi, I'm Jill Marinaro. I'm a 1st grade teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Marinaro.
Mary Pat Moley, 2nd grade.
Thank you, Ms. Moley.
Miss Barlow, 2nd grade.
Thank you, Ms. Barlow.
Hi, I'm Courtney Marshall, kindergarten teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall.
Miss Hennings, kindergarten as well.
Oh, I didn't see you there, Ms. Hennings. Thank you. I'm trying to manage all the screens.
Mrs. Cushman, kindergarten also.
Thank you, Ms. Cushman.
Nicole Banks, sixth grade teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Banks. Anybody else, any other teachers? I know we also have Ms. McGrady from our counseling department is with us. Do you want to say hello to everyone, Ms. McGrady?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Miss McGrady, hope all is well.
Thank you. Okay, so what we want to do is we don't want to keep you long. We just wanted to do another check-in. We had a meeting with the families a few weeks ago, just talking about our transition to distance learning, and now we're a few weeks into it, and we wanted to do another check-in, which is why we're meeting here today and to share some information with you as well. So the first thing that I want to say as executive director and also communicating from our board members is number one, thank you. Distance learning has been a huge transition for a lot of families. I'm a parent too. I have kids at home, so I'm helping with my kids in their work assignments at home. And I know that this is not easy. I know that it is not easy. So the number one thing that I want to say when I'm speaking from the leadership team and on behalf of the board is thank you, because this would not work without you. And we've seen so many parents who have really stepped in and stepped up to support their students and have done exactly what we asked you guys to do in helping us make sure that our kids remain successful during this time when they're out of the building. And you guys have just done that. It's been amazing and it's been awesome. And we really appreciate everything that you've done and all the sacrifices that you've made. And just everybody being here tonight, you know, having over 60 families with us this evening is just a great testament to the commitment that our parents have shown to their students' education and to King Center as a whole. So I really wanted to start by just saying thank you for all that you're doing. We definitely understand that it's not easy to become the teacher, especially for those of us who are still working and trying to manage, you know, jobs, other responsibilities, and getting, you know, students in front of their laptops to do their work and turn it in on time. So we are definitely very aware of the challenges that are facing a lot of families. And like I said, many of us are in those positions too, because we're parents as well. And we worked really hard to try to design a system that would be supportive to students and respectful of parents' time as much as possible without taking away from the students' opportunity to learn. So tonight, we just really wanted to just begin by saying thank you, because we know that it's been a challenge and we appreciate all the work that you've done in supporting students up to this point. One of the questions that we got that I've heard from a lot of the families is that what's happening at King Center is somewhat different than what's happening in Buffalo Public Schools. And, you know, one of the things that I want to be completely honest with you about as both a parent and as educational leader, and answering the question of, you know, why are we still teaching? You know, other schools have just kind of, you know, send out some packets and thrown in the towel and say, we'll see you in September. And then, you know, there are parents who have asked us like, well, why are you still teaching? And as an educator who's been in the community for over 20 years and working with students for all of this time, one of the things that I know is that urban education and teaching students in inner city is challenging in and of itself. And if we do not continue to try to provide opportunities for students to learn, our students can continue to fall behind. One of the research studies show that there are students who over just a general regular summer can lose 30 to 40% of the things that they learned that year just by having a summer break. And now there's new research that's coming out that's calling it the COVID slide, which basically means that while students are out of their building and participating in distance learning or no learning at all, that some students can lose up to a year or sometimes 2 years worth of what they've gained. And we don't want to see our students lose anything. You know, they're already facing a lot, you know, of what's going on in society, the challenges that they may be seeing in their families as their families are battling the virus and the impact of that. And we don't want them to lose the work that they've put in so far up until this point. So we're still here. We're still showing up for you. We're still showing up. We're still teaching, we're still sharing information. Our teachers are passionate and on board. You see a lot of them here with us tonight, and they've been working hard to make sure that our students still succeed. So that's one of the things that I'm proud of when it comes to King Center, is that our teachers really are committed to showing up for you. You know, what's been interesting is that we really had to work hard to kind of tone down what the teachers wanted to offer, because they wanted to do so much, and we didn't want it to be totally overwhelming. So we kind of had to pull back, because they were ready, you know, to just go really strong, you know, with the classes and the assignments, and to try to keep things as much as normal. But we understand that we're not in a normal time, and our goal in the distance learning was to really remain connected with families and checking in with you and checking on you, giving opportunities for those students who are available to show up for live sessions to still have that interaction with their teachers and to be able to see familiar faces. And that's another support to you as parents. I know for me, my daughter's in the 5th grade, and sometimes, you know, with math, the way I learned it and the way she's learning it is totally different. So I look forward to those live sessions so that I can talk with her teacher to kind of get the new way of doing certain things. And that's been helpful and supportive as well. So our teachers have been doing that and showing up and supporting families who have the ability to show up for the live sessions. And then if you're not available to show up for live sessions, there's nothing wrong with that. The sessions are recorded, and you can go back and watch them later at a time that's convenient for you. So we put that little piece in there just to take the pressure off of those who cannot show up for all the live sessions, and to make it available for those who can. And so one of the things that we wanted to really talk with you about today was to answer the question that came up at our last meeting, is what is our plan as it relates to promotion and grading during this time? Earlier this week, most of you should have received an email from our office that shared with you the grading and promotion policy as it relates to how we're going to handle the 3rd quarter report cards and making decisions about how students will be promoted on to the next grade. If you did not receive that email, if you can please put that information in the chat, and we will make sure that we get that email out to you directly. It's also going to be available on our website. It'll be available on our website, and it is also available on most of the classroom Facebook pages. I know a lot of our teachers have shared it out that way. So if you're looking for a way to access it and you didn't receive it by email, we can get you a direct email, but it will also be available on different platforms as well. Omarla, do you want to kind of share it for those who haven't seen it so far? We're going to try to get it up on the screen so you guys can take a look at it. And I'm just going to go over it briefly, and then kind of give you guys opportunities to answer questions.
Yep, you'll just have to add me as the co-host so that I can share my screen.
Oh, let's see, how do I do that? I'm still learning how to work this, so I think I did it.
Thank you.
So as we get it up on the screen, the number one thing, there's a couple of portions to this, if, for those who haven't seen it already, is we're going to make some decisions regarding promotion based upon a couple of factors. Number one, we're going to do the average of your first 2 trimesters GPAs. We're going to average those together. Since we're not going to do any official grading of assignments for this 3rd trimester, the credit will be given for work submission. So if the student turns in the work, you'll get credit for submitting the work. We're not going to grade each individual assignment. But what's also important to know for parents and students is that if you submit an assignment and that assignment shows that you can use some extra support in understanding the material, the teacher will reach out and maybe ask for you, and maybe send it back and ask for you to work on it a little bit more, give some support, and ask for you to resubmit that assignment in order to get credit for it. So it's not as simple as turning in blank pages or something with 1 or 2 sentences. We really want to give the students the opportunity to have a good understanding of the material that's being shared, and making sure that they're best prepared for moving on to the next grade. So the promotion guidelines are really going to take into account the first and second trimester report card grade averages, and we're going to average those two together. And then the second big piece that we're going to look at is your work submission rate. We understand that everybody won't be able to do everything. So we have a submission rate of 70% as an expectation for all students to be able to submit at least 70% of the work at minimal in order to be considered for promotion. So those students who their first 2 trimester grades come out to a 71 or better, and they present at least 70% or more of work, will be coded for promotion. Anything that falls less than that in categories 3 through 1 will be considered for academic review. And in the academic review process, we'll kind of look at some other factors and different things to kind of see where your average is, what your work submission rate is, how you've been doing in school, if there are any extenuating circumstances, and make a decision whether or not a student is prepared to move forward. Because the best thing that we want to do is, our goal is to set students up for success. So if you have a 3rd grader who's looking forward to going into 4th grade, we want to make sure that that student can really handle 4th grade work. So it's the reason why we're not doing automatic promotions, but we want to make sure that the student is truly prepared. And that's why we're continuing to work during this time with your students to make sure that they're best prepared for moving forward. It is our goal to see as many students move forward as possible. It is our intention to be supportive and not punitive wherever it is possible, and to make sure that they get the information and master the skills that are needed in order for them to be successful when they get to the next grade level. So that 70% work submission rate is important because it helps us see how the students are handling the material and where they need support, if at all. So those students who are showing that they may not necessarily be ready right now to move on to the next level will be recommended for summer instruction. The details of summer instruction are still with the state and with the board. They haven't come out completely yet. But we do know that there will be some level of summer instruction, and that will be another opportunity for a student to make up skills that they may have missed so that they can, again, be prepared to move forward. And we just want to do everything that we can to help students continue to move forward as much as possible. But the key to doing that is by submitting the work and making sure that the work that they submit is reflective of the information that was shared. We want to make sure that they're not turning in blank assignments or assignments that are not reflective of their true abilities.
Oops, your glasses on.
So those are the things that we're looking at. And then the academic review, it may be a situation where, based upon how a student was performing in trimester 1 or 2, that there may be some cases where we have to recommend additional support in order for a student to move forward, or a family may recommend that a student take some time and revisit that grade again come the fall. But those are conversations, when you get into an academic review stage, those will be conversations that you will have with the teacher and the leadership team to make those decisions on what happens with your students. So we're really looking forward to making sure that students at minimal complete that 70% more of work submission rate. So I've been doing a lot of talking and I can't see the chat box. Hold on, there it is. And I want to give you guys a chance to kind of answer questions, or Marla, if you want to add anything to what we've talked about so far from the teacher's perspective.
No, I think you have it really covered. And you mentioned, which was something I was going to mention, is the quality of work. So the assignments that are submitted need to be as complete as possible. What we're seeing in a couple cases so far are either blank assignments being turned in, or they're not fully completed as to what the teachers have assigned. And like Ms. Coleman said, they will send those back to have the kids work on them. Because across the board, we're noticing just a dip in the quality of the work. So we do want to make sure we maintain the skills that they've already been working on during the year and try to maintain as much of that as possible and not let the, the quality of work slip too much.
And what's important to know about the this process is that students have the opportunity to go back and submit assignments that they may have missed before today. And the submission window is open until June 19th. So it doesn't mean, if you miss a deadline, it doesn't mean all is lost. You can go back and make up assignments that may have been missed, and you can submit assignments all the way up until June 19th. There will be a progress report that's coming out to families to kind of let you know where we are with the work submission and attendance. And to let you know how your student is doing as far as completing that 70% and the progress that they've made so far. If we do see that some students are not close to that, you may get a call from a teacher when they do their weekly check-ins to kind of also let you know what they're seeing. If they have concerns, someone will reach out to you. I apologize for my dog. I must be getting a delivery. She hates the UPS guy. So you'll know. So it won't be a surprise come end of June. So we're going to send out a progress report. Those progress reports should be coming out towards the end of the month. So it's kind of halfway between now and June to let you know where your student stands and to keep you in the loop as to what's going on. And again, if there are any concerns about the submission rate or the quality of the work that is being submitted, or if we just constantly seeing that students are submitting blank assignments, someone will reach out to you. Either the teacher or someone from the leadership team will reach out to you to let you know what's going on and to find out how we can support you and how we can support our students. We have a full team of interventionists who are on standby to be able to offer additional support as well. Our special education team is available to support as well. So our goal here is to help as much as possible. So if there's anything that's happening or anything that's needed that we can do to help support your student move forward, that's exactly what our intention is here. And we just want to make that clear to everybody and to let families know what the policy is going to be between now and June and how we want to get students moving forward to the next grade. Do we have any questions at the moment? I see some people who didn't get the email. I'll have a note of that in the chat, so we'll make sure that we'll get that email sent directly to the email address that's on file.
Excuse me, I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
There's work that Willow does, and I'm sitting there doing it with her, and I'm thinking she's submitting it. Is there any way that I will be able to send it, mail it in, that I print them off? Because she's not submitting it. That's the thing. She's doing the work, but it's not being counted.
We can still see all her work if she's doing it in Google Classroom. Even if they don't hit submit, there is a way that the teachers can still see their work.
Okay, see, Willow, you listen, right?
Yes. Keep working hard, Willow. Okay.
Hi, Willow.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have several questions about it. I'm Madison David's mother and Mackenzie Jones' mother. So the first question is, sometimes you guys are sending work in that's saying that we have to have it printed. And unfortunately, I don't have a printer at home. So that was one of the issues that I had. The other issue is I'm an essential worker. And during the school hours that you guys go online, in my oldest child, I can kind of depend on her and make sure that she stays on it with, and makes it her responsibility to get online while I'm at work. But my 6-year-old, that's not possible. So I'm running into a very big concern about them not being able to attend the time that's designated for them to be online. Because I can't pass the work on, and I'm not going to depend on anybody else to make sure that my kids get online, because it's my responsibility. So I have an issue with that. I feel like maybe a class needs to be done in the morning and maybe at nighttime as well. And then also some of the things, it's not as clear with the directives and stuff like that and submitting the work. Like I had to download the app on my phone and take a picture of her work to submit it. So everything is not clear. I feel like it's still some things that need to be done. I do understand that this is a new system and that we all trying to work together to make sure everything is done correctly for our kids. But I just have major concerns about this whole system, especially because my children will not be able to be online at 11 o'clock for these classes.
Awesome. So first, I want to say thank you. As an essential worker, we definitely appreciate the work that you're doing in the community. And the reason that we make sure that all the live sessions are recorded is exactly for situations like that. We know that every student won't be able to show up at 11 o'clock for math class. So the video is recorded so that for number one, for students who weren't able to be there at the live session, they can go back and they can view it at a time that's most convenient for you and your family. Another reason why the videos are recorded is that sometimes the student may need to watch the video more than once in order to fully understand the concept that is being shared. So it's a great advantage to be able to go back and review the video multiple times in order to get your questions answered. Another thing that is also helpful, that all of the teachers have office hours. So they have office hours that are both during the day, and then they do have some availability in the evening for families who may be working. So if there's a particular subject that comes up and you have questions about either the work, the directions, or you need extra support, we can make arrangements during those office hours to maybe connect your student with someone who can work with them at a time that's most convenient for you. So when we put the plan together, we kind of thought through some of those barriers and understanding that everyone won't be able to make it at 11 o'clock for math, but wanted to make sure that we gave you resources that you can use at times that's convenient for you. It's another reason why we left the submission window open, because there are some families who can't do anything because they're working, and they spend the weekend just kind of hanging out and getting some assignments done. And that's totally okay. So we really want to do whatever we can to be as supportive to you in your situation as possible. And if there are some special circumstances that you probably don't want to share here, you can definitely share with your student's teacher or anyone on the leadership team, and we'll find a way to make it work for you.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is Willis. So her problem when we're doing her math work, her thing is on a live videos is moving too fast, and she's not understanding it. But we go back and rewatch the recordings, and it's still fast, like in the recording. So it's like she's not getting the math problems as like quick.
Okay. Again, there are also office hours for her teacher, where you can join her teacher in a live chat for office hours. Again, most teachers have office hours twice per week, one during the day and one in the evening at a time that, and if either of those times are not convenient for you, you can also request another time that works better for you, so that she can work directly with Willow to kind of help you, and maybe even offer some support from our intervention team that can maybe slow down the lesson for her at a pace that's more comfortable for her as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
I have a question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm the grandma for Julio Ross and Amari Pratt. My question is related to Julio Ross, and in the beginning, we were having a few technical issues with the Moby Max and the password. I did contact IT as well as his instructor, and the Moby Max and the password worked great for the first day. The following day, the password was invalid. So, for 2 or 3 days, we had to wait for IT to, fix that hiccup. But the instructor assured me that the students were not going to be penalized because of the IT issues. Everything seems to be working fine now. I just want to make sure that they are not going to be penalized, for, catching up with the Moby Max assignments because of the IT technicalities. Is that so?
Yes, that's so. So one of the things that I want to make sure that's really clear is that the work submission that we're counting are the work assignments that show up in Google Classroom.
Excellent.
Those are the ones that we're looking at, and those are the ones that we're counting. The assignments that are given through MobyMax and Reading Eggs and Mathsies are just additional support for you guys. Some parents have asked for more work, because the students are moving through the assignment so quickly. So those are other ways for students to continue practicing some of the skills. Some of the families like to be able to use those resources on the weekends or when they're away.
Excellent.
So those are there, but what we're counting for work submission is absolutely the things that are showing up in Google Classroom. And to clarify that even further, for all the grades K through 6, we're looking specifically at ELA and math assignments.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your answer.
You're welcome. And then those students who are in grade 7 and 8, we're looking at ELA, math, science, and social studies. So those are all their core subjects. You will see assignments in Google Classroom that come in from our specialty teachers, which is like gym and art and music. Those assignments are not mandatory, they are recommended. A lot of the students like to have a mental break and do something fun. So there are art projects in there they can do, things they can do for music, and they'll also earn some live school points as well if they complete those assignments. But what we're counting for work submission and how you get to that 70% for grades K through 6 are the ELA and the math assignments. And then for our 7th and 8th graders, that also includes science and social studies.
Excellent.
So we just want to make that clear. That was another great question the parents raised because they felt that the art and the music and the technology was kind of getting a little wacky for them to keep up with everything. And we want to make sure that everyone really understands that those are recommended but not required, and they do not count towards the 70%, but they are there for students who want to do something fun, or maybe it's a way that they can, on the weekends kind of hang out and do something that's a little less, demanding mentally for them. I know my daughter enjoys the art project. Sometimes I have to tell her to not start with art and do math first. So we kind of break it up and have her use the other assignments as a break in between her work with ELA and math. I have another question here about 8th graders get their diploma and clean out their lockers. We are setting up a date for the lockers and anything that you may have in the lockers. So that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks, that you'll know when we can come in and pick up your belongings from the lockers. And then we do have a team and a committee together that is working on what graduation is going to look like for our 8th graders and as well as our kindergarten celebration. So you should also be getting information that'll be coming out to you regarding the plans for that as well in the next few weeks.
Okay, great. I have just one more question, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
won't argue anymore. I know that we're specifically talking about academics in the classroom assignments. Are we not worried about physical education? Because I don't see any tutorials or videos that they can watch to do some physical education. And then one more, when as parents are we going to expect to see the 70% or the status of their work, whether when do we expect to see that? I know the last day of school is June something. But when do we know that they were successful?
Absolutely. So to answer your question about the physical education, so there's physical education, there's art, there's music, there's technology, and there's library. Those assignments should be showing in your Google Classroom. They send out assignments and videos once a week, and the students have the whole week to kind of jump in and do those things. So those are what I was talking about as recommended, but not required. Those are the specials.
Okay.
So that's
right. Okay,
there.
great.
If
Yeah.
you're not seeing that, let us know, and we can kind of check into your file to see if anything's missing, or if it's not showing up in your file, we can make sure you're getting it.
Okay.
The second question, can you repeat your second question again? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
It was a time frame, a guesstimated time frame as when we will know whether the children are successful or not.
Yes. So you're going to receive a progress report sometimes towards the end of the month.
Okay.
The progress report will come out at the end of the month that will let you know where your student stands as far as work submission rate. So that should be coming out by the end of May, and that'll give you kind of a snapshot to show where you are so far. And if you are also wondering or need to know before then, you can also check in with your student's teacher, and they'll be able to give you the information that you need.
Excellent. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I see Latoy has her hand raised. I don't know if you put your question in the chat or if you wanted to unmute your phone to ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have different, I have multiple kids in different classes. However, my first grader, I spoke to Miss Green today, and I had an issue with some of her assignments because I love PowerPoint and it works well with my older kids, but it's a little hard for Giovanni when I walk away from her because I have other kids, and like there were some questions she was supposed to answer, and it looked really good in the PowerPoint thing, but I don't know what she did, and the place where she was supposed to answer the questions, it totally, it went away. So I tried to submit it. So now we have a couple assignments that aren't complete, but I don't know how to get back to that slide that she took away. I did all that I could do within my own doing. So my own thought was, is there a hard copy that could be emailed to me just in case that issue arises, or maybe you have a way to eliminate that problem for me for my little one?
So what I'll do, I'm not sure if Miss Green is on this evening, but I know that she does have office hours, and that'd be a great time to find out when her office hours are so that she can maybe walk you through how to manage the PowerPoint and to let you know if she's able to send you some additional resources that you can use on your own. So office hours, again, are twice a week. One should be during the day and another one should be later in the afternoon around this time for families that are working. You can connect with her there, and then she'll be able to give you the resources that that you need and the support to know how to get back. Another thing that I want to say about missing assignments is don't stress out about it. You have until June. So if you miss a few things, you can go back and make them up later. It's okay. And Miss Green will reach out to you. Miss Rivera just said she'll have Miss Green reach out to you. So she'll get in touch with you to be able to ask your questions as it relates to that specific assignment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. There was another question in the chat that I want to address. It was related that I covered how the averages will be determined for grades K through 2 for the first and second semester. Ms. Rivera, do you want to speak to that? Oh, there she goes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. What was the question?
She wants to know, the question is about the averages for grades K through 2.
For the first and second, I see it. Did you cover how
Yes.
the averages will be determined for grades K2 for the first and second semester? So we're going to follow along right with the grading policy that was emailed out. So given what they had received on the report cards that were able to go home, we'll take a look at that. And then we'll look specifically along, I apologize, my toddler's in the background. We'll look at what's going on with the grading policy, and we'll go through there as well. If there's specific questions for a K1 or 2 student, you can certainly reach out to the teacher, but we'll have more information and a better look when we get to the progress report time, which is in the next couple of weeks.
So the question was because their grades aren't determined by number, they get letter grades.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why I asked. But I know at the top of the report card, it gives you like, a number range for each number or letter that they get. So I just wanted to make sure that's how they're going to base it off of that part of it.
Yes, we're using that same guide. So that 71 falls into the range of about a C.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So for those K through 2, so that's a C. The 71 comes up as about a C on that chart that you're referring to on the top of the report card.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so my daughter, I had some concerns about her learning capabilities, about retaining the work. And on paper, her grades was very, very well, but sitting with her and just listening and watching and trying to teach her in school and then also at home, I had some concerns about it. Now on paper, she's a A student, and I'm almost positive that she would be moved on to the first grade. Once this is all done and they get back into the school settings and they're showing signs of struggling, how would you guys take care of that come September or January when the students return back to school? Like what will happen in that case?
That's an excellent question, and it's actually one of the biggest requirements that the state has for us in preparing for reopening schools is that we are planning to do some intensive intervention for all of our students because we are expecting for most of our students to lose some of the skills because their routine and the number of hours that they're spending in the actual academic environment has been decreased because they're learning from home. And there's no way we expect for a student to sit in front of a computer for 6 hours a day. So we are already prepared with our intervention team and a plan of addressing students. So when students come back to school, one of the first things that we'll do is we'll do an internal assessment to just kind of see how students are doing and what skills they may have lost. And that'll let us know as the educators of what we need to be focused on specifically with each student. So while some students may be doing okay with reading, they may lose some math skills or vice versa, or maybe even both. And so we'll be taking that information from that initial assessment to kind of help us guide what each individual student needs. There are some students who will work well at home and continue to thrive and continue to use the resources that we have provided, like the Moby Max and the Reading Eggs and the Math Seeds, that will keep them strong in those areas. And then there are just some students who, who will not use those resources and may need, want a break over the summer. And so that initial assessment will give us the information that we need to know what type of services and what level of services we need to put in place to help support that student so that they can be successful as they move forward to the next grade. And we'll also make sure that we share that information with you as parents to let you know if we're going to recommend some additional support beyond that. Thank you. I was just reading comments. So there are a couple of things that I just wanted to share. Ms. Rolack, do you have anything and announcements that you have for the families while we're all together before we let them go?
I just want to say that we really value the parents' feedback in all of this. This is new for all of us. It's new for the teachers. We're in a very unique situation and we value your feedback. So as much as possible, please continue to reach out to teachers and give them feedback on how this is going on your end as well, because that'll let us know as educators how we need to move forward in all of this. So I just want to say we do value your feedback and please continue pushing that feedback out to your teachers or to leadership. And just thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you. Ms. Ashanti, I see your hand is raised. Did you have another question, ma'am?
I just want to thank all the teachers because if I had to have your job, oh my God, I would like to thank all KCC because this is something. I'm in the healthcare, but this year, being a teacher, my grandkids don't like me being their teacher. They want their teacher back. So thank all of y'all.
Thank you. We appreciate
being part of their life.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I love my son's teacher, Miss Barlow. She's awesome. Like I text her like she's my best friend. So thank you, Miss Barlow. Shout out to you. You lit.
I do have one more question, and I promise it's my last one for the night.
It's fine. This is helpful. This is definitely helpful because you may have a question that someone else is thinking.
Yes. So
I have
a couple of family members that's teachers in other parts of the world, and that sit on the board in other parts of the world. And it had got back to me that possibly the schools will be closed into January. And I just wanted to know if you guys heard of that because I need to be mentally prepared for something like that. And I need to start preparing my mind like today, like now, if that's a possibility.
So we have not heard anything about close until January. To kind of give you an idea of one of the things that we are working on and trying to implement, it will take some legal movement to make it happen, is that we're looking at the possibility of being able to offer a blended learning environment, which was actually an idea that came from our last parent meeting. a parent asked, what if schools are open and I don't feel comfortable sending my student back to school? Can they continue to learn from home? So we took that question to our charter authorizers, and we've brought that question, and I brought that question personally to some of the school leadership meetings that I'm in. And there's a lot of schools that are looking at that. The opportunity for some students to maybe come to school a few days a week, or some students to just stay home and continue to learn from home. That blended learning opportunity is probably going to be the step that will come before they make a decision to close until January. Just because we know that from an education standpoint, that the longer a student is away, the more skills that they'll lose. So unless there is another huge surge, I don't see it going that long. But it may be the possibility that distance learning will be optional up until that point. So that's what I'm hearing. Of course, this is all what I'm hearing. Nothing official has been released from our state. But those are some of the conversations that I've had with other educators in other areas as well. I know there's some things going on in Texas and some things happening in Montana. So I've been kind of keeping my ear to the ground to kind of see what other models are being considered in other states, so that we can consider them as the most progressive model for our students and ones that best meet the needs of both our students and our families. So we're just going to continue listening out, but for right now, if you can just hang on with us until September, that's our goal, is to get them back in the building by September. Another thing that I want to share is we talked about our grading and promotion policy, and we talked about the opportunity for summer instruction. I do want to share that whatever that's going to look like, that will be digital. That will be from a distance learning. So any summer instruction will happen from a distance learning. So you don't have to worry about bringing them back to school just yet, even if they're recommended for summer instruction. Let's see.
Was that question related to the returning of the equipment?
No, that wasn't, but that's a great point to bring up. There is an equipment submission date that is coming out in June. I believe that date is June 19th. I will double check that date with our tech team. I don't think our tech team is still with us. But there's a date for you to turn in your equipment, and we're trying to coordinate that date to go along with the question about when can you pick up the things from the student's locker. So we're trying to do everything at one time. You can drop off your tech and pick up your personal items all in the same visit. So that's what we're working on coordinating. You will get a notice from our tech team to let you know when that tech return date will be. And then for those who are going to be participating in summer instruction, you'll get different instructions about what to do with your tech when the time comes.
Okay, and how will IT notify us? Is it going to be email? Is it going to be through the classroom, or how will we be notified?
It will be all of the above. So we try to use multiple forms of communication. We'll send emails, we'll send a letter, we'll send you a text message. It'll be pushed out on Facebook. So we try to put it in multiple places so that everyone has the opportunity to get the message.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I also want to make a little bit of room for Ms. McGrady to kind of speak to some of our 8th grade parents as it relates to high school. Is there some information you want to share, Ms. McGrady?
Yes, I was actually just typing something in the chat, so thank you for that, Ms. Coleman. Good evening, everyone. Ms. McGrady here, the counselor from King Center. I just want to first reach out to a lot of you guys and thank you for emailing me with the questions and staying up to date with my Facebook post and my Google Classroom posts. So a couple of updates regarding high school for our 8th graders. Buffalo Central Registration have agreed to give us bi-weekly updates. So what's happening is, as I get updated, that's when you guys will get updated with the posts. And as I get information, I'll be posting it on Google Classroom, the Facebook post. I'll also be posting it in our monthly newsletters. I'm not sure if you guys have been receiving those and looking at those. So what's happening right now is last Friday, May 8th, Buffalo Public sent out all letters all letters regarding acceptance letters, letters about your student or your child rather possibly not getting placed, but the next steps. So all of the, you should receive those letters by the weekend because they had to get everything out by May 8th, which was last week, Friday. A couple of things. The first thing is if you started to get acceptance letters, they're going to ask you to submit certain materials by a deadline. Please make sure that you do not miss any deadlines. Please make sure that you're reading the letters and you're submitting the required documentation. What's happening with a lot of the students are if you're missing the deadlines, they will give your seat away. So please, 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 I can't stress enough to make sure that you stay on top of the letters. Once you do receive them, that you're reading them and you're submitting the required documentation by the deadline. That way your child can have a seat. In the event that you got a letter and the letter state that your child wasn't placed at the school of your choice, they're going to give you an opportunity to email them. And I'll put the email address in the chat. For those who may not have a piece of paper and a pen handy, I'll put it in the chat. So they're going to ask you to send them an email, letting you guys know that your child wasn't placed, and asking what seats are available. Those seats are also first come, first serve. To my knowledge, the only schools that have open seats available for the students that have not been placed in the school of their choice is Burgard, McKinley, East, and Riverside. So those are the only 4 schools that they have available seats for students who have not been placed. So I'll put the email address in the chat. If you only email them if you got a letter saying that your child did not get placed, okay? If they did get placed, just please make sure that you're staying on top of what they're asking you to submit to them. If you need a report card, if you need a transcript, I'll also put my email address in the chat if you don't have it. And please email me and I'll be able to send you whatever materials you need, from transcripts, report cards, or anything. That way you can make sure that you're meeting the deadlines. Also, with you getting acceptance letters, and let's say you get an acceptance letter and you're not certain if you want to go to Emerson or you're not certain if you want to go to Da Vinci, still submit the required materials just to secure your seat, right? So submit the required materials to secure your seat, and then later you can make that final decision. Because what one student did, unfortunately, was they was struggling between 2 different schools, and then they missed their deadline because they couldn't make up their mind. So the good thing is you can submit everything to all schools to secure a seat, and then you can go back and say, oh, you know what, thank you for the opportunity. I changed my mind, and then they can now give you the seat. I just don't want for you guys to have the opportunity to go to a school, but then you lose a seat due to not being, not having a final decision on where you want to go to. So definitely make sure that you're staying on top of that. I'm always available via email. And again, I'll put all of my information in the chat. I'm always available. I've been doing Google Meet with a lot of our students. For a couple of our 8th graders have been asking to do Google Meet with me so we can discuss what their options are, and easing their frustration because they're not sure what's going on. So definitely reach out to me. Also, once you make a decision, so once you make a final decision on what high school you want to go to, please let me know that as well. My goal is to make sure that I'm staying on top of where our students are going once they leave King Center. That way I can try my best to stay in touch with them and they can stay in touch with me. So once you make a final decision on what school your child will be going to in the fall, please make sure you email me that information, and I can definitely try my best to stay in touch. Lastly, that I'm gonna see if you guys have any questions. If you have a child that is 14 and 15 years old and you guys are interested in working papers, I am still accepting applications. I am still creating them and getting them out to the families. If you are interested in working papers, again, you can email me and I'll let you know what the steps on how we would do that since the whole social distancing. And I'll make sure you'll get the application and tell you how you will be able to retrieve the working paper. Any questions about high school or working papers? No? Okay.
Actually, yes, I have a question. This is Maya Scott's mom. Can you put your email in the chat? So I think she'll be interested in working papers.
Yes, I am putting my email in the chat right now as we speak.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. McGrady. Also just wanted to remind families that we'll have a full 8th grade parent meeting as well, where we can talk about some of these things in addition to some other topics that are related specifically to our 8th grade families. We are almost out of time, but I also wanted to give Ms. Thurman an opportunity to share some information that she wanted to share with all families. So please listen in.
Two things. One thing is if you could just let your child know that anything they search while using their King Center device, or if you have a nephew or a niece over and they jump on your child's King Center laptop, I'm getting minute by minute email alerts that kids are searching inappropriate things. So I will be calling you if that happens, just to notify you that, you know, so you are in the know of what's going on. But if you can let them know that we can view everything that they're searching, you know, so it's not awkward for them later on also. And also I have created a virtual live school store. Students in grades 1 through 8 use live school during the school year as a behavior monitoring tool, and they earn points and they're able to shop at the school store. Kindergarten historically has not used live school because it's a little too abstract for them to earn these virtual points that they're not really able to see during the day. So kindergarten will be doing a different type of raffle drawing, and they'll be earning prizes as well. Students in 1 through 8 will still be using their live school bank accounts. And I put out on our Facebook the virtual live school store menu, I guess. So on May 28th and 29th and June 18th and 19th, they'll be able to spend the points that are in their bank accounts. And some of the prizes are pizza and wing delivery, I'll bring over to your house and drop off. Virtually pieing a teacher in the face so they can spend their points on having one of their teachers take a pie to the face online, and we'll post it in honor of them. Ice cream delivery. I'm a Starbucks junkie, so I will bring them a Starbucks Frappuccino if they would like. So there's a variety of things posted on the Facebook page for the virtual live school store that the teachers also put on the Google Classroom. So just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you, Ms. Thurman. Ms. Rose, do you have anything else that you want to share before we wrap up this evening?
Just to the parents, I just want to say thank you. Appreciate your support. Know that I do call some of you to check up on you to see if you need any more support with student work. And we are still working closely with you and the students. So if you have any concerns, anything that you need from us, please do not hesitate to call us. And we appreciate you, and tell your students that I miss them, and hope to see them soon.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Ms. Rivera, is there anything you want to share before we leave?
Just to say, just to reiterate what Ms. Rhodes had just said, thank you so much to the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody who is stepping up to take on the role of teacher, along with all the other hats that you all wear on a daily basis. We truly appreciate it. And if there's anything that you need, please reach out and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate your time. We are so ecstatic that we had over 80 families with us this afternoon. That is a King Center record. So we just want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for taking the time. Again, just echoing the gratitude that our team has shared and the work that you're doing in supporting students' education at this time. This would not work without you, and it's working because of you. So we are definitely thanking everything that you've done and will continue to do, and we continue to hang in there. The last thing that I want to say is that in the last meeting, we talked about some parents who were interested in being on the parent committee and planning the reopening. If you are interested in being on that committee, we are going to be meeting on May 21st, which is next Thursday. I'll send you a link. If you want to be a part of that meeting, you can send me an email, tcoleman@kccs.com, to be on there. So we can talk about what reopening looks like from a parent perspective. We want to have your voices at the table as well. So there was a few families that reached out to me that said they wanted to be on that meeting. So the reopening meeting, my email is there for parents who want to be a part of that. That will be on May 21st at 5:15, again, same time next Thursday. And we'll just start the conversation to kind of get your input and your thoughts and concerns as it relates to us developing our reopening plan. So that information will be there for you. Are there any other last minute questions from anyone, any of the parents, anything you want to share before we end our time tonight?
I would just like to say thank you to all of you instructors for your support during this difficult time. From Jaleel and Amari's grandma. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everyone, we're going to let you get back to your busy lives, and we hope that you continue to stay safe and to have a great evening, and to keep an eye out for emails for any additional communication coming from King Center. Okay, everyone, have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everybody. Good night.